they're not necessarily doing that every single day in a secondary setting. So the committee that I've met with would like age appropriate to be included. Those are the only recommended changes for that policy. Questions on that one? That was a pretty beefy policy, but there were no changes from our last meeting, so a couple I pointed out. Uncompensated leave. I was asked by the board to put this one in our rotation because you guys were seeing uncompensated leave on your agendas. So we took a look at it. In the current policy, it had the superintendent may approve uncompensated leave in emergency situation for teachers and that many 3 employees on a case-by-case basis and inform the board if such leave has been granted. We added 2 days in there because that is in practice what we have been doing since COVID, is that the superintendent can approve up to 2 days. We also, well not we, Nick, realized in our agenda building that we don't account for full-time support staff members in this policy at all. So we would like to add full-time support staff as well. Because support staff is, the part-time support staff is the other comment or statement that was added, that the superintendent may approve up to 10 uncompensated days for part-time support staff employees and notify the board when such leave has been awarded.
That used to be 5 days for part-time support staff.
Used to be 5.
So that threshold's a little bit higher because those people don't get any leave within their contract. So they don't get any paid time off. So uncompensated leave, if they have to take off work, it's uncompensated. So instead of having to approve if somebody has a doctor's appointment or some sort of thing that doesn't necessarily come to us all the time. Now, if it starts getting in excess of 10 days a year, that's when we might want to start putting eyes on things in specific situations to make sure that there's not being used. I think that 10 days is appropriate for the superintendent, the ability just to approve that, so that accounting for the fact that those employees do not have paid time off.
And just as a note, it does say, still say on here, after it's granted, you'll be notified. So it would still be a red line item on your agendas, but just as informational. Like we don't have to vote up, we don't have to vote on it. It's just informational on your agenda. And these are really like going back to our cafeteria monitors and personnel who are only here for 3 or 4 hours a day. Okay. Then the next policy is the conflict of interest. And the newest version from PSBA is the same as ours, except from, if you look under reporting conflicts of interest, in the third paragraph down from reporting conflicts of interest, they added the statement, the district shall provide written notification of such protections to district employees. And that's making sure that there is no reprisals, no retaliation, that everything is handled in good faith when dealing with conflicts of interest. So we just have to provide that in writing now as a protection to the employee. But that is the only addition.
And that, these are all like PSBA, what is this?
Yes, these are all
of them. Okay. Yep.
Any questions on this or anything?
Just a clarification at the top of the document, third paragraph down, it's in bold. So that bolding is just to bring more attention.
Mm-hmm.
That was also an update or a change.
No, that is actually in our current.
Okay, so it's just for emphasis.
I have to make that assumption, but I can double check keep in mind, when I say they're the same as our policy, like, every intent of this policy has what this policy has.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes, and I think we've talked about this before, because we weren't a member of PSBA, there was some wordsmithing so that we weren't
Right.
plagiarizing. I believe, Terry, yes.
Thanks.
And then the last one, we have to bring this policy to you every year. 918 is Title I parent engagement, family engagement, because we are a Title I school here at the elementary, targeting K2. This policy has to come before you every year, and no changes were made to the policy.
Very good.
Back to the conflict of interest just for a moment. So, I believe that Tom was referring to page 3.
Okay.
About the middle of the page, board members, employees may neither solicit or accept gratuities, favors, or anything monetary value from contract with the parties to parties to subcontract unless the gift is an unsolicited item of nominal value. Gifts of a nominal value may be accepted in accordance with board policy. Is that everybody's understanding of what, is that kind of reading the right section that was discussed there? I would note to that, if my understanding is correct, a gift of that nature will have to be accepted in accordance with board policy, like the way that we do donated things. So like if someone makes a donation or gives something to the district, we have to accept that donation and vote on it immediately. Is that correct? Is that a correct assumption?
That would not be my interpretation. So like, if it's a gift, I'm just gonna use a low level one here, because this could possibly happen if our LPS comes in to present. Our LPS, Tim is where I'm going with this. Our LPS will not come to a meeting generally without boxes of Wilbur's chocolate.
Wilbur Bus.
Wilbur Buds, because it's out of lids, they're out of lids. Like if they came in and dispensed Wilbur Buds, that's not something you would have to like, put on a board agenda to accept. I think that's the intent of this, if I'm not mistaken.
So when it says accepted in accordance with board policy, what board, do we know what board policy is intended for? This policy? Gives it a nominal value. If you define nominal, I guess is the question.
I guess if
Interprets
some-
policy.
If somebody complains.
And you could do that, or, I think we can do that in stone, but I think they're gonna tell us it's up to the board to decide on that.
I would say that it would probably be wise to get our solicitor advice as to whether or not we should put in a compact, whether that would be good practice in accordance with their policy, which we'll also look at. And then pending that, we can do an update and depending on whether it's a required little or no change or a big change, we can decide whether it stays on.
It won't stay on for Monday. So if we want to, we can pull it. So when we send it to Saxon and Stump, they'll take it to their team who does policy review. It'll be a good month before I hear that. Yeah, just FYI. Which is fine. I mean, we
Yeah.
can put it in October. That's not a problem. But it's usually a good month so I get them back.
So we can,
Again, that's not a problem.
so are we going to move it, holding that one off until next month?
Yeah,
Is that
210, 246, 339, and 918. Does everyone agree to move that forward to approval?
Yes.
All right. Anything else, Judy? Is there any other business to be brought before the committee? Ms. Mary?
I have a couple, actually. One that really concerns me is, when did we stop teaching person, and can we bring it back?
I don't know when we stopped teaching it, but I will say there is legislation on the books right now that somebody is trying to get it back into curriculum. So I can't remember if it's in the House, I think it's in the House Education Committee right now. Yeah.
Okay,
So if that would happen, we would be forced to bring them back?
Yeah, we probably have, with anything that they pass, we would have a roll, like a slow roll into it. We usually have like 2 to 3 years to prepare for that. Because we bring person back, we don't have to go. So we usually get
what happened there?
something has to go. If you bring person back, that takes time for something else. So they usually give you 2 to 3 years to write the curriculum, implement the curriculum, get the resources you need.
I mean, my generation has been great, because we did all of that. We learned for good and all the regular math, not volunteer math. Spelling tests. Do we have them? And if we do, are they, if they miss the word, are they taking it and writing it 10 times so they learn it? Or are they just getting the correct spelling from them by the teacher? And that's it.
Well, I don't know which teacher you're referring to, so I
Oh,
can
no,
see,
no
I can
particular
speak to
teacher.
secondary for sure. I can ask at the elementary, but I know they have spelling as well. So they do have spelling all through secondary. I would imagine it falls to the teachers to how they're asking the students to relearn the words that they don't know, or to learn the words that they don't know. I don't know that they're asking them to write them all 10 times. I know that's how I learned back home, but I don't know how they're doing their remediation on their spelling right now.
Okay. I know Janelle had mentioned this one as well before. I think at least grades 2 through 5 should have homework at least 2 to 3 times a week. My understanding is they do not, and another parent had actually mentioned this at a ball game not too long ago, that when her daughter hit middle school, she wasn't doing her homework at first, and she was getting reports that she's doing it great, and it turned out it was just because she wasn't doing homework. Well, she didn't have to do homework in elementary school, so that hit her like she had no clue. So why are we not doing homework?
I don't know that we're not. I would suggest anytime there's a complaint about something that's going on in the school, such as homework or any work or anything like that, contact me, have the person contact the building principal. If they're not comfortable doing that, have the person contact me so that we can do an investigation, we can take a look and see what's actually happening.
Okay, because I think I mentioned it before that I actually had a student in this building who could do homework by choice. They could get it Monday, or they get it during the week. As long as they turned it in by next Monday, they got gold spots as a reward. They did not have to do homework. It was a choice, which I don't think is right. I think they should have to do homework so that they learn, they continue to read, that type of thing. Same with spelling, that's part of reading.
I will say, I've heard a couple teachers just even this year say that they send things home for students to practice or to work on, and it's usually, and it's not necessarily being graded because it's practice. And I think one of the things Janelle and I had talked about, or in this committee, Janelle and I, but that not every family has a family that's going to help their kids make sure they get their homework done. So when we talk about homework, I do also want to make sure we're not penalizing kids who don't necessarily have family support, even though they should. Like, so I know a lot of teachers will say, like, I send home, can you read with your child like 15 or 20 minutes, practice some flashcards with them, or things of that nature. And it has obviously age appropriate.
Right.
And I can bring that, I'll take that back to, I did bring it up in my principal's workshop this summer. And we started some initial conversations with that. And those were some of those things that bubbled up as far as age appropriate, making sure kids are not penalized, that they're not getting help at home. Not sure how I feel about that in both spots. Because then that is kind of a penalty to the other kids.
Well, it is, and it's not, I don't think it's a very good incentive. I think they should just do the homework and they don't get rewarded for that, except by the parents that, you know, oh, we got 3 grades and.
Well, I mean, there's a number of things you can do, right? You can do like class competitions or,
Right. Spelling.
you know, make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Like something that is really going to benefit you the next day when you come in instead of just busy work. That's part of it too. It's got to be something worthwhile that the kids understand is relevant and it's going to lead to more learning the next day. It can't just be busy work.
Could we do some kind of investigation to report out at the next meeting as to what the district-wide homework practices are? Because I think that would be, to speak to Mary's question, would be the topic that's interesting. Because I think knowing what is being done at different grade levels, as well as the fact of trying to get to the bottom of whether the same practices are used across different teachers in the same grade levels. Or if there's one teacher that in 5th grade that you got mandatory homework every night, and there's another teacher that no homework in my classroom. I think that would be an interesting information.
I think you'll see a letter. Well, no, I'm not going to show you. This way you see what it actually is.
I got that. What is our math called actually? Are we doing common core math? Is that what it's calling that is?
PA standards. We do PA standards.
And it's like EA core, is like as main version of Common Core.
Yes, you can have an email about that. It's own version.
Okay, I know you guys are sick of hearing about this, but I'm still not happy with the library being on, most of the class time being spent on the computer. So is there any way we can have, I think in an instance, come into one of our curriculum meetings and show us what they actually do while they're in the library?
Would you like a presentation of what she teaches as far as the curriculum, what skills, what competencies, what things she's looking for her students? Because we do have a library, we do have that curriculum for teaching library science. And we also have computer digital citizenship skills that she teaches to the students going through. So if you would like a presentation of that, I think that's something that she can come in and share and review what it is
Yeah,
that
that'd be fun.
the library does
Yes.
and what the
So I have
students
a
are
better
expected to be able
understanding
to
of
do.
why we're gonna get 5 minutes at the end to choose a book.
Sure.
And the last one. When will the MAM students be moving to the new building?
Well, that's something that we have to decide on as a board. One of the things we discussed back in January of 2025, almost a year ago, we talked about the new calendar that we had, and we talked about the possibility of moving students up in March, but it really is contingent on when construction is complete.
So we'll address it again.
these final stages.
Because there does become a point where we get closer to PSSAs and Keystones and AP tests that might not be possible.
It's the end of the year traditions too, as well, just things that you complete in April and May that we do all the time that impact what students' daily routine things.
And if I can share, during back to school night for, at MAMS this year, went up to some of the teachers and said, hey, what are your thoughts on getting? You want to move in the middle of the year, like towards the end of the year, or wait? And every single staff member that I talked to said, as eager as they are to get into the building, they would like to wait because it's learning all new routines right before PSSAs, the disruption. You know, as excited as they are to get into the new building and as eager as they are, it is currently being occupied by the high school. And they would just like to not be rushed to get in, but to take their time and only have to, like, they won't have to do it, you know, 6th grade and then again, or 7th, 8th grade, you know, those students, and then again in the fall. So it was overwhelmingly.
I get that, but we spent all this money on this building, so we can have them together.
I know. And well, you know, Dr. Messel said too, like, you know, you have all of those end of year things that maybe the, I don't know, the current 8th graders, you have your, you know, 8th grade farewell, you know, different celebrations and things like that, so, yeah.
So if anybody listening, the final decision has not been made yet.
Right.
Correct.
It's made by the board, and communicated down through the appropriate staff to make that decision. All right. Anything else?
It shouldn't take too long. I just want to know, I know our academics is still, we're lacking, and so, like, what is the plan of Littlestown moving our academics forward? So into the next part of that, I know Judy, you and Mr. Moran had gone to some other schools, and I'm wondering what you noticed and what you maybe learned there that you can bring back to our school district to help our academics get to the where they need to be for our kiddos.
So, one of the things that we really focused on when we went out is obviously their ELA. So how are they instructing ELA